The explosion and subsequent fires had exacted a heavy toll on Roseburg. In addition to the human casualties, the blast had done an estimated $12 million in total damage, close to $100 million in today's economy. The explosion had impacted a 50-block area of the city, and practically everything within a 12-block section surrounding the epicenter had been leveled. In all, 350 buildings had been damaged or completely destroyed, 72 declared structurally unsafe. Just beyond the immediate impact zone, many of the buildings had withstood the initial shock and the fires that followed, but were in need of substantial repairs. The Grand Hotel next to where you're currently located and the Pacific Building, home to professional and government offices, located across the street, were two such structures. Exterior signs had fallen to the ground. Most of the windows had been blown out, interior walls wrecked, and blast debris scattered everywhere. The shock of the blast had even cracked and scattered inch-thick marble in the lobby of the Pacific Building. Both buildings were determined to be structurally sound, however, and were saved. The brick building situated on the other side of the Grand Hotel at the corner of Cass and Stevens was the home of the Roseburg Post Office in 1959. Postal officials were on the scene within an hour of the blast, cleaning up glass and rubble. Without electricity, they were forced to move their canceling and distributing machines to another temporary facility. Despite the difficulties, mail delivery was only 2 hours behind schedule on Friday, and by Saturday, all deliveries were on time. Cleanup of the blast area began almost immediately. Hazardous buildings were razed, debris removed, and utilities restored. Government officials, including then-Governor Mark Hatfield, toured the area to view the disaster firsthand. Insurance adjusters set up shop in Roseburg, and insurance monies began to flow to the area businesses for repair and relocation. Roseburg would lose some businesses as a result of the blast. A flour mill, a feed store, as well as a few gas stations and car dealers would not return. Another occupant that did not rebuild was Central Junior High School. The school district elected to double shift classes at the remaining junior high until a new building could be constructed. Many merchants would repair their damaged buildings and go back to doing business at the same address. Others, like Garrettson Building Supply, where the fire had originated, would move to new locations. The Coca-Cola bottling plant across from Garrettson's had been totally demolished in the blast, killing William Unrath, the owner, along with one of his employees. The Unrath family would later sell the business, and the new owner built another plant elsewhere in Roseburg. Out of the midst of the disaster, city leaders had been given the opportunity to reshape Roseburg into a city for the future. However, this would take time. In a story appearing in the July 2, 1960 edition of the Saturday Evening Post, Roseburg resident Bonnie Wallace Riggs wrote, "Nearly a year after the explosion, the flattened blocks are still mostly barren. The rubbish cleared out, but very little building done. The main business district looks mostly new, with fresh paint and thousands of square feet of new windows. But around it are evidence of tragedy. A hotel boarded up except for the first floor, a church with a gaping hole where a huge stained-glass window had been, a row of small homes half occupied, half still as the blast left them, with roofs askew and chimneys tottering. Charred wreckage where a feed mill once was. It would take years to fix what had taken little more than a split second to totally dismantle, but the healing had begun."